It's March 9th, 2022. It really feels like the Kennel Club, we'll call it, use their privilege and their reach to encourage this season's American dream of vacation club almost, causing real harm to myself, my kids' future, our homeland. Other people are suffering that look familial. And on the state agreed media, they are putting up all sorts of signs of what they did, which I call them citations. I'm citing this absurd, like almost reward dance in some cases, and in some cases I'm citing the devastation and the wake it's left, and then some of the unintended consequences, but the casualty list being the people that were here first or that have rock, paper, scissors is not acceptable. It's just not. So now, in my life frame, when I arrived in 1978, and in my parents' life frame, there was no such thing in the local New York area as a computer. For the stock brokerage firm and Wall Street, they had phones, and they had their pen, and they had paper. They wrote tickets. They went down to the floor, and then they had like a bidding, like boys' club, like acceptable with Lords of London's approval type scenario. Until all of a sudden this disgusting fetish with electronics put like rocket fuel in the like, no, they got a betting problem. That's one of like the industries, but like they let them have their fun because it looks like a frat house down there and that's what they enjoy. But I mean, again, as long as it's under control, but it's like their gambling problem's out of control. Same thing with the sports, and it's the American Vacation Club is what it looks like, and it's really damaging to like the people that didn't take part in it and don't know how to stay healthy, because now it's almost like our health is being damaged by those that had some false advantage, took advantage, and increased their strength and power somehow, while taking advantage of what was up next in generational and inherited wealth. It's like they bankrupted almost, is what it feels like walking through. So now this is what the commercial looks like. In the Kennel Club abused its power, mixed in with the UN and the US, in this is not part of the North American us package with Canada, but it's arrived in an abusive section of the lower 48 states, and there's a scuffle going on I'm trying to survive through. So now this word app, APP, never existed in the local English when I arrived. It's something that developed with the Kennel Club designing Vacation Club and in the lower 48 to like further extend the abuse. Because they're the ones that seem to be entering this US system that I didn't have access to in like military force, and developing these skills that the public doesn't know about. But this is the rewarding themselves and what the song and dance that they've pretty much sold the public. You do this for us in some Ponzi scheme. I mean, and then it's linked in somehow to humanitarian aid. I mean, it's really dangerous system for those of us that don't want to live this way and that want to live healthy, but they're encroaching on health, safety, and welfare of others.
Tell the band to keep playing. This seems dangerous, sir. I know.
And to me, this looks like sports booking is involved in this, along with some healthcare banking and insurance schemes, Ponzi schemes that are really dangerous, that make up a good portion of whatever North America is cycling through, although it's not cycling through properly based on the this app concept and the tie-ins with the rewards and punishment scale. It's what I refer to as Salesforce at the Kennel Club, which is abusing its power and privilege and insight of other things. Causing almost like an extortion scheme. Built into use our products, do it our way, and you'll live kind of a thing. Except they're not the North Americans. So now it becomes really tricky with that over your head. Now that's the commercial. Now here's real life with them putting pressure on something called a Lukoil, which again, I have no research ability to figure out who's behind Lukoil and who's benefiting. But theoretically, if someone sends someone here with this designed package of, like, just keep the economy going while you're there, and they'll agree to give you good jobs and places to live, and this is a really dangerous game when the land ownership has not agreed. But they've already put something into motion. Okay, now here's what chaos looks like in they don't know what brands to buy, they don't know who's backing what in real world. I mean, some people do, because they're sent with instructions. But, like, I wasn't taught, like, buy these brands, it backs up your national brand in order to protect my health, safety, and welfare, and the correct projects being funded, and to avert certain punishments that nobody explains. So now here's what it looks like on just like a, what gas do you pump? Like, who's on what side? It's really confusing at the couch potato level of, like, just arrived here and then, like, got ghosted by humanity in North America.
Lukoil, possibly one of the most recognizable companies linked to Russia, but
I don't know how he can verify that. That's hearsay. Like, where does he get his, I don't have an intelligence community. So the fact that I have no intelligence community means Lukoil, I have no idea who owns it, who runs it, how on an import sheet does it come in, who's listed as the owner, and does it have a photo of the owner? Because then it gets really confusing with what else is going on in this piece, because they're calling things Russian that don't look Russian.
Owners of some Lukoil.
The theater here says Putin's the Russian big brother, and there's a little brother. And then I'm just a little sister that's been ghosted by humanity, totally confused about this entire system, just knowing I'm getting hurt and I don't know why.
Well, franchises in our area say they are being unfairly targeted, including one in Long Island who says business is down 50%. Eyewitness News reporter Stacey Sager live in Lynbrook with more. Stacey.
Well, Dave, you know, it's not as simple as it seems because the people who own and work at these little stations, they really are the little guys, and they have nothing to do with Russia. Now, already gas prices are climbing, and here it's almost $5 per gallon. So you factor in the anger about the war, and here it's getting to the point where they don't even feel safe.
The phrase pain at the pump has a whole other meaning these days for Fernando Diaz.
People have cursed at you.
Yeah.
And threatened to hurt you.
Yeah.
And the price of premium, well, that's only a part of it. It's that this is a Lukoil gas station, and Lukoil is a Russian fuel company. But this...
Again, I can't verify that information. Where does she verify her information? It's Channel 7. I don't know who feeds them their authorized words. If that's the clientele of Lukoil, it seems like they're subsidized residents. It doesn't necessarily mean it's Putin and Russia. But this is how confusing it gets. Which side? How do you protect yourself? Like, who do you support? Who do you... I mean, you support the little guy. Great, I support Ukraine then. But I don't want to piss off Putin because I don't want to get arrested, hurt, or beaten, or drugged anymore, or raped again. Not that I think that he personally would have that done because I don't know the man. But in the theater of things, I don't know. Again, when a whole species and population of moving parts completely forgets your existence, and there's this many problems in the theater, there should be no expectations to how one acts or what one says, until there's some rectification here.
This is a Lukoil franchise. Used to be a mobile station. And Ganesh Lal, who owns the service station, tells us...
It's an independent owner. Yeah, it doesn't have anything at all to do with Russia.
Nevertheless, as people are dumping...
Confused white guys? I mean, like, dumping vodka? I mean, I saw another place they were eating meatballs. I'm like, right, is that how we stand up for the little guy? We just invest in small businesses, waste some resources? Like, what's going on here in this confusion with, like, the Kennel Club leading something? But, I mean, like, is the American Vacation Dreamers Club that already took payoffs and led the world into this disaster, are they now telling Kennel Club how to behave in this theater? I'm just curious, because it looks like it's complete chaos from North America's perspective, where I can't find a handsome, tall Canadian over 6 foot to hold my hand and say, now, if I say this, is this going to get me in trouble? Because, like, I don't want to say stuff that's going to get me in trouble. But I also don't want people dying for this level of leadership being confused after things were already done that led us here. How do I stand up and defend with conviction, pointing the spear outwards for conviction, since there were a lot of mistakes made along the way, and none of them make sense for a healthy future?
Russian booze and canceling many products that may be Russian in name only due to Russia's escalating invasion of Ukraine.
It's like we get in a hell of a time.
Lal telling us his business is down 50 to 60%. But the worst part?
My biggest concern, I don't want any one of my guys to get hurt.
Fernando explaining some even getting out of their vehicles to make the threats.
I know it's sad what's happening over there, but you can't blame people over here.
It's American gas we sell it. We don't sell Russian gas here.
They say they're counting on their loyal customers to keep coming back. This one originally from Ukraine, and he supports the gas station.
It's not these guys' fault what Putin's. He's a dictator, so that's what he does.
Yeah, I just try.
And it's like they get fed this script of like what you say about what's going on. And I'm like, listen, if the world was in perfect working order, I could understand them being fed something and it stick to the script we give you. But at the moment, for myself anyway, I'm not promoting what I'm doing to anyone else because I don't know what's gonna tomorrow brings, but every day it feels like I'm losing more and more mobility in my legs. And it's been multi-generational. It was not a genetic disease, but it's starting to have a pattern that I'm frightened for other people that are whatever and whatever.
Try to do my job, I'm humble, that's it.
Yeah, and they are putting up with a lot right now. Fernando, he's not Russian. He's from Peru. Ganesh Lal, he is not Russian either. He is from Guyana. And even if they were Russian American, treating them this way would simply not be okay. We spoke.
Now, again, like, I'm trying to stick with things that I can pretty much verify on my own without a over 6 foot handsome Canadian. I'm pretty sure Peru and Guyana, especially the two examples that they've besieged me in my own New York, I'm pretty sure they are not on Mount Rushmore, and they're definitely not on the green paper that goes in the wallet. So if my health and safety has been compromised and they're here, how does that story in the theater actually get fixed? Like my health, mind you, since now it's compounding issues and I really don't see anybody taking an interest in making anything better. Seems like there's more money in just making things worse until somebody blows up somebody's favorite architecture, which is a real problem. Here's what I call information interference. And because she says she's representing Washington, D.C., again, I don't quite understand how rock and paper are able to stand behind the message when it's giving out government secrets on this televised cast, and then it also is available on the internet. That gets confusing.
Today, they are manned and will soon be operational. In Washington, Faith Abube, Channel 7 Eyewitness News.
Thank you very much, Faith. Members of the Greek and Ukrainian Orthodox Church gathered today in prayer, calling for strength in the wake of war. That service took place at the Ukrainian Orthodox Cathedral on the Upper West Side. Worshippers from all faiths prayed this morning as images of Russia's invasion in Ukraine show horrific devastation and destruction.
And my most powerful.
Now, I have never been introduced to this level of Christianity. Not because I didn't want to, for whatever reason. It's, along with other things, been withheld outside of my reach or my grasp. I don't know why. But I did just notice, which I'm going to put up here, they call... I don't know if it's the name that they refer to and I don't even know the word. I don't have an English or American word because that's how poor my secular interaction has been. Like they just don't exist in my life path, my life frame. I expect someone to come out of the woodwork and introduce me into community and society, but it's never really happened. So they call this gentleman Metropolitan Antony. Now that gets confusing with my cursing the name of 1975. I'll hold my tongue at the moment for the words that I use to associate the other person who's under 6 foot and not Canadian. For certain, I brought him to Canada to show the actual Canadians what not Canadian an under 6 foot Canadian, and a troublemaker in my real world looks like. So now I don't want that to get confused with this, because it looks like it is spelled. I never, and he is not related at all to this religion, this sect, this whatever. I have no. His father was part of something called the Knights of Columbus. Biggest thorn in my side at this point, because all they've done is help him hurt me, is what it feels like. For the last, I don't know, Anthony's worked at Duke Energy, he's worked, but not in like corporate, like over 6 foot Canadian respectable. He worked on the dam, like hard worker, like damn hard worker. Yeah, he was one of those. But again, I can't stand up for him because I know his weak points, which I don't want to talk about. But I also don't want to be associated with whatever he fraternizes with throughout the life frame before he invaded my world, because I am nothing like him. But this becomes a reputational problem now, even though it isn't for me. It's just I can't unglue the toilet paper that follows me around.
This is finally the time that the world will wake up and will keep this feeling of disgust and horror, and will say no more for Ukraine.
The members of the clergy are asking for donations to the Greek Orthodox Archdiocese of America Ukraine Relief Fund.
So that is my portion, is clearing up the possible confusion as it arises. Because again, this figure here, I don't know what, again, I don't know if it's a man, if it's a woman. I can't tell by the back, and I've never been introduced to this level of clergy. I guess that's a good word for it, but again, I don't know if that's just, I went to one theology class. It was 1 year, a school year long, but it was a Catholic version of Christianity. Brief history, some of their sacraments. Totally, again, it's not something that's been reinforced throughout my personal life. So it's hard because I don't know the colors of their seasons. I mean, Lou and Lynn are not part of any of that, and I don't know how to enter. I tried as a teenager, but it's just, it has not been easy for, I don't know what reason. I don't. When the Kennel Club is malfunctioning, and some of the Kennel Club was pushing and promoting American Vacation Club, and retirements and betting and sports and all the frat opportunity, it gets really confusing to say, hey, I wasn't a part of it, my parents weren't a part of it, but we're really getting hurt here. And I don't know how to help myself and others, and I don't know where the entry point is. It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, Solar System, Milky Way, Universe, Galaxy is broken. It's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. But what I can say is, I've been, I guess you could say cited, personally introduced and cited to somebody very special who called me, who said that I matched the description of the girl with the pearl earring. And then there was an artwork dealer when Bavaria and Prussia were fighting, whenever the heck that was, that came to look at me closely because there was, he said, a love-sick teenage boy somewhere else that really wanted to be with me. And there was something going on in the school district back in the early 1990s. But there was not more information than that. Oh, and then he wanted to know, I think he was something Mazad. I don't know what that is. It was a writing that I didn't, a script, a calligraphy I couldn't recognize because I had never seen it before. Or if I had seen it, I didn't have a word association with that type of symbol. But that was like mid-1990s. when that gentleman came in a black BMW. But again, it's just cleaning up details at this point, because what's toilet paper stuck to my shoe in a associated year of 1975 that I've been complaining about has been a known source of problems, verified by others who have come to visit on some kind of like inspection, like quiet inspection, I guess, in order to whatever, eyewitness, God's witness, in case it should be called into whatever, in privy. But I don't know what else to say. There's not much else to say.